welcome to Wings of the Ruin. Today reporting on the Syrian situation currently. I think it's quite insane, really. Most of European countries at least speak on intervening. US government speaks of it the most, which is silly, really. What do they care about a country half the world away, especially since Syrians don't own oil, really, because that has been the main reason on US wars past the last decade. You can't argue that, can you? My point today is that it seems that the Assadi reign is not responsible of the use of chemical weapons. Why would they have? They are winning the war. They would only harm their own supporters doing it in Damascus, and their cooperation with the UN advocates would be a strong show of innocence. I don't believe it was the so-called rebels, freedom fighters, terrorists, or whichever you like to call them. I'll call them rebels for future reference. I don't believe they did it either, since if they are truly fighting for the people and did something like that, they would lose the people right away, and what's a rebel without support from the people? A dead rebel, pretty soon. I believe it was a third party, such as Al-Qaeda, which was originally trained overseas by the CIA. There are no proof, but lots of circumstantial evidence, and I believe that Al-Qaeda is just an American weapon that has got out of control, and I believe they did this for the US plans for Syrian invasion with American chemical weapons. It is highly likely. Even the Israelis, who consider themselves Syrians' enemies, don't really think that Assadi or anyone in his government had anything to do with this attack. As I said, they are winning the war. They don't need to do anything like this. Italy, France, and lots of other European countries are against invading Syria if there are no proof, no evidence of Syrian reign doing cruelty, such as using chemical weapons against them. And myself, I think that each country should be left alone with their domestic issues. Civil wars are not too nice, but conflicts escalate easily if more than one nation is involved in them, and this is why I would once agree with the Pope, who said that the only way a foreign power can intervene in the Syrian civil war is diplomacy, to helping them reach peace. And well, he's smart for a Pope. I don't really like those core boy fuckers anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean that quite like that, but it's lots of Catholic priests suffer from the celibacy code and do stupid things with animals, children, each other. Well, I think each other is the least bad option, since, well, homosexuality, well, I don't really fancy it myself, but I believe people have right to choose. And if Catholic priests fuck each other, let them fuck each other. But that's that. Um, I don't think uh, a military intrusion would prove successful. Russia and Iran would be deadly allies for Syria in that context. And when I say Syria, I say Assad's official reign, official government. There is no way I can call a bunch of rebels the official Syria. It's like we call Taiwan the official China. Uh, no way. I believe we would be in, as Assad's foreign minister has stated, another Vietnam for NATO should they intervene in that civil war more than they already have. Even the British aren't with the USA in this one. The House of Commons, which is nowadays the highest elite of British decision making, they are stalling. If even they are stalling, when the USA, meaning Pentagon and their military contractors, want to go for it, that means the USA has they don't have much allies to go with. Israel might help them, but even the Israeli are finding it hard to believe that Assad has used chemical weapons on his own citizens in his own capital. And Israeli, they don't act without proof on situations like this. They've learned to be a bit careful since they live among Muslim countries. They have to be cautious, they have to be smart. Of course they have USA for an ally, but the USA not helping them in each turn teach them some humility and common sense. Check these things on Jerusalem Post, cheappost.com. Most of stuff can be found there. Also, I used Wall Street Journal, The Guardian, the British magazine, and RT.com, Russia Today, International Russian web newspaper. These are my sources for this bit. I don't think four newspapers of so different standing would just be there and lie on it, you know. So, since all these four newspapers seem to have lots of common ground on these pieces on news, I think what I'm saying is quite trustworthy. If you have opinion on the Syrian civil war, post me a message down below. I'll put up links of those web newspapers in the description section. If you think I'm talking bullshit, dislike my video. If you think I'm making sense, like my video, send me a message telling I'm doing a decent job, so I have motivation to do these videos often. And you can also send me private messages to tell me what you'd like me to talk about next. Rock on, folks. See you in the next Wings of the Rune.